How's it going, Guardian? Shifty here, and in today's video we're going to be talking about how you can farm all of the new Season of the Haunted weapons. Of course, with the new season we have a whole slew of new weapons, and in this season we have new weapons and reprised Season of Opulence weapons. Not only that, but all of the seasonal weapons are craftable, which means you might want to get your hands on those red border weapons. Now, if I remember right, all of the seasonal weapons this time require 5 red borders in order to unlock the pattern. So maybe you're trying to get your hands on the Austringer or Beloved, or maybe you want to get your hands on the new trace rifle with killing tally. Either way, I hope that some of the tips that I'm going to go over in today's video will help you out. Before I get into the video, of course, if you end up enjoying it, make sure to hit that like button, and if you're new to my channel and not yet subscribed, I would appreciate if you did so. Alright, to start things off, there's kind of 2 separate groupings of weapons for Season of the Haunted. You have the reprised Season of Opulence weapons. You also have the brand new weapons that were introduced this season. Now, there's actually a different way to acquire both of these types of weapons. The reprised weapons actually come from the opulent chests that are spread throughout the Leviathan. These opulent chests require an opulent key to open. There are a few ways to acquire an opulent key. The first way is to open the chest at the end of the containment activity. This does not require 500 Vestiges of Dread, so you always have an opportunity to get an opulent key. Otherwise, if you don't want to do that method, you could put Wombo Detector on your Ghost Shell and head to the Royal Pools or the Pleasure Gardens. In either of those locations, you're going to want to look for any chests that you find, any high value targets, and any other events that would spawn a chest. Some of those other events include taking out some nightmare enemies. Any chest that you open throughout the Leviathan will have a chance to drop an opulent key. When you do get an opulent key drop, you're going to want to head into your inventory and hover over it. It will tell you exactly where to go to find the specific opulent chest that you can open. Your opulent chest will either be in the Royal Pools or the Pleasure Garden. Each location has a couple of different places where there's an opulent chest, so you'll just have to look around until you find the appropriate one. Either way, opening these opulent chests will reward you with one of the reprised weapons. You'll either get Austringer, the Beloved, the Callous Mini Tool, or the Drang. And like all craftable weapons, they may have a red border, which is what you need to unlock the pattern. Now, if you do opt to do this method, you can just run back and forth between the Royal Pools and the Pleasure Garden to keep farming these chests and high value targets. I did this for quite some time, and in my experience I didn't have a high drop rate for the opulent keys, but if you do head in with a fire team, it might speed up the process just a little bit. Now, if you're not specifically looking for any particular seasonal weapon and you just want to farm whatever you can, I would recommend doing the containment activity on the Leviathan. At the end of the activity, you can do a binding, which does cost that 500 Vestige of Dread. This will give you some of the new seasonal weapons. And like I mentioned earlier, you do have a chance to get an opulent key. On top of the opulent key, you can also get a bound presence, which will give you a reward at the end of the Sever activity. This is just another way to gain some of the seasonal gear. So overall, at the end of the containment activity, you have a chance to get some of the new seasonal gear. You also can get an opulent key, and you can get a bound presence. Not only that, but you'll be unlocking opulent umbral energy, which can be used to focus umbral engrams at the Crown of Sorrow in the helm. So really, the containment activity is probably the most efficient way to farm some of the weapons this season. However, one thing you might run into is a lack of Vestige of Dread. Now, I do have some tips to help you upkeep your supply of Vestige of Dread so that you can continually bind at the end of the containment activity. Initially, when I started doing containment, it felt like I was only going to be able to bind about 1 out of every 3 completions. However, there are a couple of little things that you can do to help out. So one of the first upgrades I made at the Crown of Sorrow was in the Reaping category here. The very first upgrade in that Reaping category is called Vestiges of Dread Destination Materials. This makes it so Derelict Leviathan Petrified Egregore rewards Vestiges of Dread. So that's kind of like the destination material for the Leviathan. You'll notice these around the area that you can collect, and before you have this upgrade, you don't really acquire anything from that. So once you do have this upgrade acquired, as you're doing the containment activity, you can run around and grab these Petrified Egregore to get some Vestiges of Dread. It won't seem like much, but they really do add up over time. Another tip that I have to upkeep your Vestiges of Dread supply is to equip some of the seasonal armor. So I focused high stat armor in the helm so that I could have some decent stats on my seasonal armor, but I would recommend putting it on regardless if you're having trouble keeping up your supply of Vestiges of Dread. The reason being is these have an armor perk called Vestige of the Reaper. This armor perk grants 5% additional Vestiges of Dread from all sources. Each piece of armor you are wearing with this perk on it increases this bonus to a maximum of 4 items. You can go up to a total of 20%. I only have 2 pieces on, and while 10% doesn't seem like much, it definitely does add up over time. Alright, so once you have that first reaping upgrade at the helm, and you're wearing some of the seasonal armor, you'll be able to get a decent supply of Vestiges of Dread, but probably not enough to upkeep each run. So naturally, over the course of the Containment event, you'll get some of these Vestiges of Dread from defeating enemies. However, one thing that you absolutely should be doing while going through the Containment event is doing the patrols. The patrols in the Castellum where the Containment event takes place are really not that hard to grab, and they kind of passively get completed as you're doing the event. Each patrol completed will net you a decent amount of these Vestiges. So overall, if you plan to do Containment and you follow my tips, you should be able to maintain 500 Vestiges per run. If you're running around and doing patrols, you're grabbing petrified egregore, and you're trying your best to take out as many enemies as possible while wearing the seasonal armor, you should be just fine. Alright, so just to quickly summarize the video, in order to get reprised Season of Opulence weapons, you need to open the opulent chests. In order to open the opulent chest, you need an opulent key. Those keys can be acquired at the end of the Containment activity by doing a binding for 500 Vestiges of Dread, or you can open any chest throughout the Leviathan. The new seasonal weapons can be acquired by doing that binding at the end of the Containment activity. Again, that requires 500 Vestiges of Dread. Now, doing that binding at the end of Containment will net you some new gear. You'll have a chance at an opulent key. You'll have a chance at a bound presence, which you can use at the end of the Sever activity. And you will also get some opulent umbral energy to focus umbral engrams into opulent and haunted weapons and haunted armor. If you're looking to maintain your Vestiges of Dread throughout the Containment activity, you're going to want to wear seasonal armor, do the first reaping upgrade at the helm so you can grab petrified egregore and gain Vestiges of Dread. You're going to want to do patrols, and you're going to want to try to slay out as much as possible during the event. Alright, so that is it for this video. If you did find it helpful, please make sure to leave a like and subscribe to my channel. Also, let me know down in the comment section what weapon you're looking forward to being able to craft. I know there's a ton of people out there who are excited to craft the Austringer and the Beloved for PvP. There's been a few surprising perk comebacks as well, like killing tally on the new trace rifle that you can get from this season. Overall, I'm pretty much looking forward to being able to craft all of them so that I can experiment with different perk combinations. I have already had a random drop of the trace rifle with killing tally, and that's been pretty fun to use while I've been farming Containment myself. Well, regardless of whatever weapon you're looking for, I hope that you have good luck in farming the red border so that you can be able to craft it. With that said, I'll catch you on my next video.